11 p.m. Central African time. Thank you so much for choosing us over the rest. And if you've just joined us, you're in time for our next conversation. We're looking at the reality of lenses, or rather, a lens in which we can connect, communicate, visualize life through, specific to romantic contexts and relationships. Now, there was a audio that we heard there, courtesy of Coach Turk, who spoke about just a few issues that came into play. One, a green flag that men often try and practice and women think is a red flag is when he takes his time with you. You think he's being slow, you think he's not being intentional, whereas he is studying you. So that's one fact. Two, the reality that as women, we have been groomed to perform. And so when we are not in performance mode, it feels dangerous. And when it feels dangerous, we want to dismiss the context. This is not real love. It can't be true. There's no way that this is for me. And so quite a bit to unravel there. Remember, the highlighting factor that we're looking at this evening is red flags. And perhaps these red flags that we keep on trying to highlight are not necessarily about the next person, but they're us. The fact that we don't have the correct lens. And so joining us this evening is author, mentor, and marriage counselor, Bright Junior Kamoto. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Bright. Welcome to African Diaries.
Thank you so much, Shayla. Greetings to the viewers.
Let's start off with just highlighting fundamental lens, the fundamental lens through which you're supposed to view your partner through. And the reason I want us to get this out in the clear is that for the most part, it is our perceived view that informs what we call reality. And so perhaps let's tweak that understanding.
First of all, I think, the saying that says we are what we eat. But at the same time, I think a person is made out of a couple of things: experience, what they feed on in terms of knowledge, and some of the things that themselves they perceive or project about themselves to say, this is what I want to be, this is what I would like to have, or perhaps I would like to gather about myself. Those are things that a lot of people tend to build their life on, this perfect picture that they would like to have. Unfortunately, reality has got a way of teaching us a lesson that it's not always going to go your way. And so, yeah, the fundamentals of relationships per se, it's based on, I guess, it's seeing life on the perspective of the other person and not necessarily from your own alone.
Mr. Bright, I think the one thing that I do want to come into context with is that I don't have my potential partner's lens, you know? All I have is Shayla's view. The truth, if we are to look at what's factual, as Shayla has experienced life, she's gone through life, and she realized, in context with the video that we just had an opportunity to witness, is that if he's slow and he's taking his time, he perhaps doesn't have an interest. That's all Shayla has to see at this stage. How do we begin to recalibrate our thinking so that I go, wait, Shayla, you think he's slow, but what does he think? And also, in the context of relationships, more often than not, one person is the one who wants to fully express themselves, and the other does not want to express anything. And so, in that context where you can't get the view from your partner, what are we supposed to hold on to?
Sure, I think action speaks louder than words. I think more than anything, one should not be quickly be dismissive if they, are experiencing different kind of person, or perhaps let's say if it's a female lady, you're experiencing a different kind of man who's approaching you differently. Before we are quick to dismiss them in their action, I think also begin to weigh the motives and as to why is this person doing what they're doing, and why are they taking perhaps their time to engage, or maybe they are slow, or perhaps Why is it that he doesn't like to fight? You know how some ladies would want people who break me, like just say something, like just tear me apart. I would like to fight with you, but you get those gentlemen that are just so humble. And I think it's always good to find out and ask yourself these questions before you dismiss anything. What is the motive of this person, and why are they taking their time, or what is it exactly that they are getting up to when they are doing this? Outside of the conclusion that you're having about your perspectives to say, oh, this guy is probably not interested, or this guy is probably, what, maybe doesn't love me, or he's probably trying to uh, get away with something that I'm not certain about. We must not be quick to be those kind of people, but rather begin to ask yourself questions: why, where, who, and what exactly are they doing this for? And when you begin to do that, eventually his actions begin to answer those questions for themselves to you.
Bright, I think when we ask questions,
Mm,
sometimes we don't ask them in the right spaces. Yes? So, as opposed to going to the partner at hand who I think struggles to communicate, I will go to a friend, a colleague. I will hop
okay.
onto a live and I will share my experience with somebody who appears to know something. What are the safe spaces that we can turn to? Yeah, I just feel like there's a code of conduct around relationshiping and preserving your partner's image, but also you wanting to find out what they think by asking people who see life differently from you. Where do we strike a balance?
Okay, first of all, I always encourage people to have an open platform um, within their relationship before they could look for help or from anywhere else asking questions about anyone or include anyone into the relationship. I have this analogy or perhaps this picture I always say to people. Um, put everything on the table and always remember none of you are the things that you have placed on the table. Rather, look at what's on the table and deal with each other accordingly, still loving each other, still holding hands. If you can have an open relationship where you can communicate about everything and anything, it actually helps you guys even further before you go and seek for help outside somewhere else. Number two, if you are going to go outside of that context where you don't have an open relationship and you are not able to exercise your freedom in that relationship, you are shy or you probably scared, maybe this might jump off the wrong way, then in that case, then you look for people who have the best interest in you and that relationship, and not necessarily people who's going to tell you, yeah boy, just dump the guy, he's not all good. You look for people who can have a sound mind and are reasonable to engage with you concerning that particular relationship, that when you express things is not only seeing it from your view but also seeing it from his side, so that in that way you are in a safe environment, you are in a secure place where it's not going to be one-sided advice, but it's going to be a general advice where it can assist your relationship, even you yourself, how to engage yourself into that relationship.
Bright, I want to turn to the matter at hand, red flags.
Mm.
Now, what are some of the perceived red flags for both men and women that in actual fact are green flags? So I want you to give us two contexts. So, man looking onto woman thinking red flag, when in actual fact it's a green flag that you have witnessed in your marital counseling sessions. And then, of course, the inverse being true as well, to say that women looking onto men thinking red flag, when in actual fact, no, it's a green flag. Can you list some of those for us?
First of all, appearance. I think I've dealt with those a lot. I've seen how women particularly reject men because of appearance. Oh, he doesn't have a good nose, or he doesn't have a good eye, and then or perhaps, oh, he's not wearing he does not coordinate well with colors. And I've noticed that they've lost a good man based on judging him from afar, due to experience or perhaps the appearance that they're having. And often I always say to people, there's a idea that as a lady, the image you have about a guy, it does not exist in reality. It only exists in your head. However, you are given the opportunity to turn that image into a reality. What you are given is an incomplete picture of a man, which you need to help and assist to become that kind of picture you are looking for. And often it feels like work, and then they'll immediately reject that person because, oh, the way he speaks, or perhaps the way he dresses, oh, those shades are not so proper. And then the other red flags that often women jump into is issues, for instance, where there's female friendships from the male side, where perhaps I've seen how if a man who grew up with, for instance, a mother only, is can easily connect with women or ladies because of that relationship he had, particularly with the mother, and because of that, before ladies could even conclude or find out exactly why this person is connected more to ladies, or perhaps his friends or friends are more ladies than guys, they are most quickly to dismiss and say, nah, he's a player. I'm gonna jump off from that. So there's so many things that when you look at in terms of the lady side, and then from the guy side, oh my, it's almost similar things. One major red flag is that if a woman seems to be well kept in terms of financially, or they've got such a strong-willed personality, more of like a boss kind of thing, a CEO kind of look. What men often tends to jump ship because they feel like I can't afford you, or perhaps they feel like, oh no, she wants to wear pants in the relationship. That's a red flag. It's not necessarily the case, but more of a situation whereby she's such a good leader, or perhaps a good partner, that she can assist you and empower you and help you and become also something different compared to where you are right now. But I've seen, I mean, particularly my wife, is a strong-willed leader, well kept, a person who's always on top of things. And I'm that guy who's like a gentle guy, but always in my corner, things like that. And I have seen how that works so well in so many cases, whereby if I was in that position of considering that as a red flag, I would have probably dismissed her, even not even get married to her. But I've seen the goodness and the greatness of that kind of character within a context of a relationship. They are such good people who can communicate, well, and weigh issues well, provide solutions well, and advise, and also being on top of things. As for instance, a man, he's a solution based, and you would want that kind of person to be on on your side, whereby rather than just continuously being emotional, continuously being, a person who's always in the corner crying. Now you've got a partner who says, "Hey, let's get this done. We can do this. We can do, things like that." So often those are the things that men can. I've faced a lot of people saying, "No, man, she's too strong for me." That's a red flag, man. I feel like I'll be fighting with another fellow man. What we don't get is such a partner could be such a great help and ease to your life.
Bright, and we are a little pressed for time, and I do know that there is more questions that we had lined up for you. But as a parting shot, uh, what would you say to somebody who is trying to get into a relationship? They are not too familiar with their own lens at this stage. I feel like when you do have someone close to you, that's when you begin to get a mirror experience of who you are, right? By virtue of the next person's reaction. That's when you learn more about yourself to an extent. And so for those who are trying to step into a relationship, they're saying, listen, I want to step in, but it's giving red flags all over. It's giving dating online is not for me. It's giving the only place I'll find love is in a much older generation. Those are the commentary that people are indulging at this present stage. What would you say to them to encourage them that love can be found in 2025, but also that it is okay to journey through the process and not wait for the end game?
Sure. You know what? There's always light at the end of the tunnel. Um, in every season, whatever darkness there is, there's always light. And situations will never be the same, always or constantly the same or stay the same. And so, for those who are desiring to pursue love and still feel skeptical because of the circumstances they are in or the situations they are in, first of all, be healed. Not every man is the same. Not every woman is the same. Yes, you've been through the most. Yes, you have seen the worst kind. But there are also beautiful people out there. There are also beautiful men and women out there, not beautifully on the outside alone, but beautiful within their heart, that they are able to show you what love, what true love is. But you need to take off the veil of the trauma. You need to take off the veil of the what ifs. You need to take off the veil of, man, this is not for me right now. Probably can only find love in that particular place. You might miss it because you're only focusing in a specific area. Remove the veil. Take away the things that blinds you from seeing true love. Take away the things that seems to be kind of like protecting you, but are actually affecting you from experiencing true love. So I would advise them to say, begin to heal, begin to remove the veil. From there, you get to see that there are actually beautiful people out there. There are actually amazing people out there. It's not always dark and gloomy, but there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Mr. Bright, this has been a pleasure. What a stellar conversation. You have left us with wisdom, you've left us thinking, but you've also left us reckoning with the reality that maybe, just maybe, we are not healed as yet.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Uh-huh.
joining us this evening.
You're welcome, Sheila. Thank you to all the viewers,
Yeah.
and thank you for having me.
The voice there of author, mentor, and marriage counselor. That is Bright Junior Kamoto. 47 after 11 p.m. Central African time. We're going to take a quick breather. When we get back, we are in the producer's corner because my producer has a thing or two to say about the subject matter.
Get the news,